guys tonight, and I just want to thank all of you for coming out to celebrate the last book in Meg's trilogy. It's a huge fucking... It's a big deal to publish one book. It is really great fortune to publish two, but on your third, for fuck's sake, Meg, congratulations! Books coming, or with her third book coming out this year. Annalee Newitz. When the end times come, Annalee will have been on a spaceship for decades already, having correctly predicted that Earth would not sustain life. She'll be light years away, playing Dungeons and Dragons in another galaxy, surrounded by all the humans and androids and aliens and unbodied consciousnesses that love her. Though it will be shocking that they all fit on a single spacecraft, they'll make it work. And by they, I mean Annalee will make it work. Because if anyone has the imagination to problem solve keeping infinite beings, bodied or not, on a spaceship full of noodles, it is Annalee. Annalee.
It is going to be full of noodles. I'm glad that you knew that about me. That's my main plan for the spaceship, other than bringing Meg's books with me, to have some noodles. So, okay, this is the thing. So you know that this book that has just come out is the third in a trilogy called The Road to Nowhere, and when I was, which is fucking awesome. And when I was asked to participate in this, I was told, okay, we're doing fanfic set in the Road to Nowhere universe. And I was like, I don't like to write stories unless I kind of don't ever follow instructions. And so I wrote a story set in the greater Megaverse. This is set in the world of a short story she wrote called Big Girl, which, when I heard her read it here at Cliterary Salon, oh my God, I think about that story all the time. It gave me so many feelings. So many feelings, and now you will know what they are. Also, I hope that you know something about Gojira. Because there's some goods in here for you. I try to stay away from land. Whenever I frolic on the beach or slide through the warm coastal waters in the Pacific, there is the inevitable panic. My timeline blows up with shitty snaps of my dorsal plate armor, and suddenly there are a million TikTok videos of people pretending to stomp various cities. That's followed by nuclear missiles, or oxygen destroyer weapons, or some weird attempt to freeze my body from the inside out using a chemical formula invented by scientists whose creativity was lubricated by working in a flat organizational structure. Whenever this happens, I play dead, sink back into the deep sea, and just shrug it off. Sure, I have a few fans who send me nice DMs to cheer me up, but if they were real fans, wouldn't they reply publicly? Honestly, I have no idea. And dwelling on it only makes my mood bigger and more toxic. Look, I'm basically an optimistic person, so every few months I convince myself that things will be different this time. That's how I wound up off the coast of San Francisco, paddling past Alameda. I figured I'd swim along the coast, wave my hands and tail, and they would finally figure out I was just saying, hey! They wouldn't dispatch their useless weapons or try to use science. I didn't make it very far before the first sighting popped up on Facebook. Giant girl standing naked off the coast and she's hungry. I was taken aback. The social media dipshits had finally gotten my pronoun right. People always assume that I'm male because I'm giant and covered in scales and can breathe fire. To be fair, humans rarely get each other's pronouns right either. It seems like it's a species-wide problem. I used a chip that some misguided scientists had implanted in my tail to access my feed and was shocked to see that I wasn't the giant girl in the video. It was a human. Well, calling her human would be a stretch. She was the right size to be a real person. And she was the most amazing person I had ever seen. Her body could withstand rockets. Her shadow filled the ocean. Her brown skin glowed as if it were covered in beautiful scales. And she wasn't afraid to stand in the human's coastal waters. I had to meet her. As I swam closer, I caught sight of the person with my own eyes. Water surged around her legs, and she stretched a hand overhead to crush a drone with casual skill. I think I fell in love with her then. I knew that if she could stand there at her full height, I could too. Normally, I hunch over a little to make myself look less awkward, but not this time. Not this fucking time. I stood up, feeling the sea foam gushing between the spines on my back. I curled my tail up out of the water, letting it glow pure white the way it does when I'm not trying to fade into the background. And then I opened my mouth, showing my teeth without shame, and bellowed out a greeting. It felt so good to speak in my normal voice, to see the houses on Alameda shaking the way they should. I wasn't going to keep quiet for the sake of the humans, not when there was another person nearby, and she obviously didn't give a shit what the humans thought. She turned toward me and smiled, her lips parting. I can't even describe what it was like to see someone whose proportions were so perfect, her mouth big enough to swallow buildings like a normal person. Of course, the fire planes and military submarines were already on the way. The humans would never put up with this display. Who knew what kind of science bullshit they tried this time? Based on my feed, it would probably be something made with machine learning algorithms and bitcoins. And now there was no reason to stick around for it. Let's get the hell out of here, I roared. Grab hold of me and I'll pull us out. She nodded and put one hand on my back, running her fingers over my spines. I let them glow and she smiled again. You feel warm, she said. Why are you lighting up like that? We were already far from shore, but the humans wouldn't give up. A nuclear warhead exploded against my hamstring. It's part of my sustainable energy system, I explained. I use photosynthesis to nourish myself with light, but when I have too much energy stored, I let it out through my mouth or tail. I'd like to see that, she said, getting closer. Will you show me? Nobody had ever asked me to show my fire before. Maybe that's because I'd only ever met humans instead of people. I sucked in the air, pulled it inside my internal heat sink, and released. Oxygen molecules incinerated on my lips, and the gout of flame roared across the surface of the water, destroying all the humans who dared to follow us. Her eyes widened. That was beautiful. She had seen what my body could do, and she liked it. I wanted to cry, and I wanted to wrap my tail around her waist, and I wanted to feel her skin against my teeth. But I didn't do that yet. I had something to ask her first. May I touch you? Yes, she breathed it into my auditory canal. I pressed against her, head resting on her shoulder. What is your name? I asked. Bianca, what's yours? The humans have many names for me, but I call myself Julia. The only name that matters is the one you call yourself, she said, kissing my snout. And then, as my passion grew, pressing her lips against each of my teeth, still hot from the fire. Does this feel good? I asked, as the heat of my tail found the heat between her legs. Yes, she moaned. Does this feel good? Her fingers stroked the tender spots between the erect, bony plates on my spine. The water around us began to simmer. There, in the deepest ocean, with humanity's greatest weapons in cinders around us, we discovered how to pleasure each other. For the first time, I didn't give a fuck what the humans would think. Let them have their ugly hashtags and their tiny lives. All they wanted to do was incinerate ancient liquefied plants and eat imprisoned mammals and birds. Maybe one day they would change. On that day, they would raise their eyes to us and discover a pattern for love. You can find me on Twitter. I'm Annalee N. That's spelled with 2 N's, 2 E's, 2 A's, and 1 L. Or no, I guess it's 3 N's. Anyway, yeah, it's Annalee N. And I do a podcast with the lovely Charlie Jane Anders, which is called Our Opinions Are Correct. Because they are. A couple of my books are for sale out there, and I'll sign it with like blood or snot or whatever you need, or a pen, and yeah, and you can find me on the internets. Yeah.